I once spent years chasing a life that wasn't even mine. It took losing myself in the process to realize the hardest battles aren't fought with the world, they're fought within. I had always believed I was disciplined, focused, and ambitious. From the outside, my life looked orderly, a steady career, friends who admired me, and a routine that screamed success. Yet, inside, I was restless. There was a quiet tension, a voice in the back of my mind that whispered, "You're not enough. You're always behind. You'll never get it right." I thought I could ignore it. I buried myself in productivity, social media validation, and endless self-improvement routines. Every morning, I woke up with a to-do list that could intimidate a small army, and every night, I went to bed feeling hollow, as if all my effort had vanished into thin air. I began comparing myself constantly. My peers were buying homes, getting promotions, traveling the world, while I had plans that never seemed to materialize. I wasn't lazy, but nothing felt like enough. It was a quiet, insidious form of self-sabotage. I pushed myself relentlessly, yet never gave myself credit, and I kept setting standards that no human could possibly meet. People around me said I was hard on myself, but I thought that was just part of growth. I didn't realize that I had become my own enemy. I was undermining my confidence, my happiness, and even my relationships, all while pretending I was striving toward a better life. It wasn't obvious at first. My calendar was full, my achievements were tangible, yet every success came with a shadow of guilt and anxiety. Even when I accomplished something meaningful, I immediately focused on what I hadn't done. My mind had become a battlefield, and I was losing, not to the world, but to myself. The turning point happened on an ordinary Tuesday. I had been preparing for a big presentation at work, something I had dreamed about for years. I rehearsed endlessly, analyzed every slide, anticipated every question. I thought that if I could just perform perfectly, finally I would feel validated. The morning of the presentation, I woke up exhausted and jittery. My hands shook slightly as I sipped my coffee. I realized for the first time that the stress I felt wasn't coming from the project itself, it was coming from me. My expectations, my fears, my relentless self-criticism. During the presentation, I stumbled over a simple line. My mind screamed at me, "You failed, you're terrible, everyone sees it." But something in me paused. I noticed the thought without reacting. I looked at the faces in the room. They weren't angry, they weren't disappointed. Most were actually listening, engaged, even nodding along. At that moment, I understood something crucial. I was not failing because of the world, I was failing because I had been my own harshest critic. The one setting impossible standards, the one whispering lies of inadequacy. It wasn't my colleagues, my career, or the circumstances that were holding me back, it was me. It was a revelation both liberating and terrifying. To acknowledge that I had been my own enemy meant taking responsibility, not blaming life or others, but understanding that my mindset had been shaping every choice, every missed opportunity, every ounce of stress. Recognizing that truth didn't instantly fix everything. For weeks, I wrestled with guilt and shame over all the moments I had spent undermining myself. I replayed years of unnecessary self-sabotage, times I avoided opportunities because I feared imperfection, times I overworked to prove worth, times I stayed silent instead of speaking my truth. But slowly, small shifts began to happen. I started talking to myself differently. Instead of thinking, "I'm not enough," I can try my best and that's enough. Instead of chasing the approval of others, I focused on what genuinely mattered to me. It was subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but the difference in my mental state was profound. I noticed my relationships improving. I was calmer, more present, and less reactive. I took creative risks I had avoided for years, not because I needed to succeed, but because I allowed myself to explore without judgment. Work became less of a battlefield and more of a canvas, and most importantly, I began trusting myself. I also realized that many of my decisions in life were influenced not by my desires, but by fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. By confronting that, I could finally make choices that aligned with my true self, rather than a manufactured ideal. This awareness didn't make life perfect, but it made it authentic. I stopped striving to meet impossible standards, and started striving to understand myself, to be present, and to honor my own path. And slowly, the voice that had once been my enemy became my guide, still critical at times, but now balanced with understanding and compassion. The moment I realized I was my own enemy taught me a lesson I carry every day. The most powerful force in shaping your life is not circumstance or other people. It is your mind. Your thoughts, your self-expectations, and your inner dialogue determine whether you feel trapped or free. We often blame the world for our struggles, but many of the obstacles we face are self-imposed. Recognizing that isn't self-blame, it's empowerment. It means you have the power to shift your life, not by changing the outside world, but by transforming the way you relate to yourself. Perfection is a myth. Constant comparison is a trap. True growth begins when you treat yourself with the same patience, kindness, and curiosity you would offer a friend. Every time you notice self-sabotaging thoughts, you have a choice: continue feeding them or step back and gently redirect. That is where real freedom begins. So I ask you, how often do you let yourself be your own enemy? How many opportunities have you missed? How many dreams have been postponed simply because of the story you tell yourself about who you are? What if today you paused, took a deep breath, and listened, not to your fears or doubts, but to the quiet voice that wants to guide you forward? What life could you create if your mind became your ally instead of your adversary? Because the truth is, the hardest battle you will ever fight isn't out there, it's in here, within you. And the moment you realize that, everything changes.